That's much better. Nothing beats a sunny morning like some fresh air and some fluffy foliage. I knew something was missing from the workshop here, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But then it hit me. We just needed some trees. Simple yet expressive. Now, with all of our trees, we wanted to try to match the aesthetic of what was once here before with the birch forest. Now, we did change some things up. We're obviously using mangrove, moss, and some of the dyed terracotta in order to make these leaf textures, and then a little bit of extra grass tufts there up on top of the moss blocks, just to give it a little character. And I wanted to keep these trees as simple and small, but also as detailed as possible, and I really do like the way they turned out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Okay, well, now with all that tree talk out of the way, welcome back to CRAFTWORKS. And you all know what's next. My name is K-Hug, you can call me Kyler, and it has been a minute. And by a minute, I mean a few days. Life has unfortunately gotten away from me, and I have fallen prisoner to time, which has limited the amount of exposure I've had to Minecraft lately, and, more specifically, the great world of CRAFTWORKS. But we are back, so let's do a little recap, a few updates, and then we can get right into what we have planned today. So since it's been a while, or you might be new here, first off, welcome. Let me go ahead and recap for you what Mustache Marvels has in the works, the CRAFTWORKS. Okay, that was a terrible pun. But Mustache Marvels did acquire a couple jobs in the last episode. We've got some heavy machinery for Goose and his residential development, and we also had Millie over at the flower farm request some sort of heavy hoisting contraption in order to help put together the relic or the ancient ruin that she discovered in the mountains there. So since last time, I did go ahead and get one of these projects done over the course of the last couple of weeks, and that is the construction equipment for Goose's residential development. So let's go check that out. First and foremost, we have the earth mover itself, the bulldozer reimagined into its true form, the bulldozer. This titan of the terrain is designed to reshape the landscape with its massive blade ready to carve out new paths and clear any obstacle in its way. Paired with the bulldozer, we have the heavy hauler itself, the dump truck. Now this isn't just any dump truck, this is the backbone of our operation. Built to carry the heaviest loads, this workhorse hauls dirt, gravel, and stone with effortless power. And last but certainly not least, the master digger himself, the excavator. With its long, powerful arm and precision bucket, this excavator reaches into the earth, pulling up everything from dirt to precious ores. And now, with the dream team together, Goose has everything he needs to build this sprawling residential community. And you'll have to go check out his channel to see exactly what he's gonna do. Now, obviously next on our agenda is Millie's crane, and I have some general concepts, some ideas, but nothing really that we've worked on, unfortunately. So the first thing we could do is we can go ahead and just grab some materials and head on over there. I have the tower. The tower has been decided, but I do not have any idea how we're gonna make the crane part. We're gonna have to figure out together. Okay, so the first couple of things I know we're gonna need is copper. Lots and lots of copper. It's kind of our favorite thing. It's kind of our staple, our thing that we build out of. And I've got a couple boxes here of the different variations of copper. And then, you know what? A little bit of terracotta never hurt nobody. I think that should be pretty much it. Nope. We're gonna need one of these. Okay, I think we're set. We'll see you over at Millie's. All right, now this is it. This giant, what I like to call a medallion behind me, is some sort of ancient relic bit she found digging out this hillside. There's also the base here of what used to be maybe some sort of cathedral or great hall, but as she digs this out, she wants to try to reimagine it, try to take this framework and redesign it back into something spectacular. And speaking of spectacular, just check out this super cool floral medallion thing here. Not a clue what it is, but it's super cool. So obviously our job here is to create some sort of heavy hoisting contraption so Millie can put this thing back together. Obviously these large mossy kind of ruined beams that you see laying throughout here are gonna have to be placed back up into some sort of open rafter system, or that's what we're theorizing was here before. And also she needs to get some supports in here because our temporary support for this thing not falling down the hillside, which would be absolutely terrible, that's a long ways down, yeah, is very important, the utmost important. And oh, Millie always comes prepared. She's also got one of these. Well, I guess 2 shouldn't hurt. Yeah, let's go ahead and break out some of our resources here. We've got, I did grab some oxidized copper doors. I don't think I have any of those set aside for anything. Now, when working with copper, oh, I don't want to destroy any of her flowers here. When working with copper, one of the most important things you can have is a little bit of honeycomb. That goes a long ways. And then, like I said, I've got a box of just the wax coppers that we can turn into the aged coppers if we need to, or the next oxidized phase. And then a bunch of the fully waxed oxidized stuff. And this just gives us a way to have one of every single type. We can get the oxidized, the wax oxidized, the waxed, weathered oxidized, something like that. There's honestly too many variations for me to keep them straight. But now, with our blocks prepared, I think we can go ahead and get started by selecting a location for this crane. Now, obviously, it needs to be able to reach at least this. I think the first thing we need to do is she needs to repair this hull. That's my personal preference, to keep this thing structurally sound. We'd hate for that thing to get damaged in the build. So I think right over in here will give us plenty of room to reach, you know, at least all the way to this corner. Now the problem is the rest of this will need to be contacted through a different means. We'll have to have maybe a secondary crane behind me here, or maybe we just move the old one once she's done with it. So let's go ahead and just, yeah, you guessed it. Let's hop into a little time lapse and get started with this crane. Okay, so this pretty much sums up what the tower base itself is going to look like. We have an alternating copper to the terracotta for these chains, or these different sections of the tower as they were constructed, one after each other. And then a load distribution kind of four-legged system going on here. Pretty standard, typical what you'd see in the construction industry. And then now, and then also the tiny little cab up there where the contractor sits. But yes, now the next thing we need to do is figure out how to create the arm and the counterbalance like there is on a standard style crane. Also, just for reference, hold on, let's go ahead and maybe not mess this up. Let's fly out real quick, and then we'll turn around and get a good scale. So this is the scale of things. So you can see that it is much higher than the little medallion thing that we got going on there that we're looking to help reconstruct. So this should be a pretty good height. I think we've actually nailed the height quite perfectly. So yeah, now from here on forth, like I said, I have no idea what we're gonna do. There's been no reference, no temporary building or creative practice, I guess, with this one. So the rest of this is gonna be kind of straight off the top of the head. And I think I want to change up what we're doing here. I think for the arm itself and the counterbalance, I want to go with the other copper textures, the two orangey copper textures, not these turquoisey colors, and I only have the waxed coppers here. So I need the weathered. I think the weathered is the one in between. This is oxidized. Hold on. Oh, exposed. Exposed is the one that I want. So I think we're gonna have to make another quick trip back to the workshop, grab some more copper, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we have the proper blocks, so we're calling the proper blocks because, well, we really don't know what proper blocks means at this point. We're going to go ahead and get started with the arm and the counterweight and the lifting mechanism together. So let's get right into that. So I know the first thing that we need to do is consider that the arm is going to be sitting up here, elevated above where the housing is and the arm itself. So this is the main track. This is going to go that way and much more significantly in that direction. And this is what's going to carry the chains that hang down and hold the lifting mechanism and the counterbalance off in this direction. And I guess what we're going to do is we're going to start with the counterbalance. Let's grab some slabs here quickly. And I think from here, we've got to go that direction as many blocks as we think is necessary. Now, we are obviously making this up as we go, so I don't really have an idea or a plan at hand, which sometimes makes these things a little confusing when it's just doing it as you do. But yeah, I'm liking that. I think these need more army bits. Little things off the side like so. How far do we want to go? Let's go maybe 5 or 6 of these, maybe 7, that direction, and then we'll put a big block here for the counterweight. Then we'll come back and take a look at it. But I do also think that we want to raise this up one more. If you haven't seen a crane, they have this lattice structure, a triangular lattice structure on their arms. This is because triangles are actually the most supportive things you can make. Anything out of a triangle is very, very strong. So these things are typically triangular in nature, so they can hold a bunch of weight. But let's go ahead and, you know what, we're gonna put this on there. We're gonna put this on there now, or I will forget. We'll bring these things out here. Now you can imagine, from this direction, it didn't look like a triangle, but from here it does. See, it's a triangle like this, and that just gives it the strength and durability to hold up a lot of weight. So we'll continue this out, like I said, for about 4 more sections that way. Okay, and from the cab, we now have extended this about 9 of these little sections out to the end here, and the counterbalance, the weight, should go right down in here. But I've got a couple more things I want to do just to add a little character here, and that is some more little supports. I think we're going to change the colors of these, and I think adding in just a pop of extra elevation in here on top of each one of these things will add a little extra character. And then I'm thinking there is going to be a cable that goes up at an angle to a central tower peak above the cab. This actually, the column itself, which is right down beneath here, actually continues up a little bit farther, and then there's a tie down to the back there and a tie down actually out towards the front of where the boom is at. And we're going to try to mimic that in Minecraft, which is sometimes a little difficult to do, but I think, okay, I see a problem here. You do not want to be on an elevated structure made out of metal in a lightning storm. We'll be right back. Okay, so the rainstorm is officially gone, and down beneath me here, you can see the giant block of tuff. And that is going to be our counterweight for this specific crane. Now, I do think there's some more cleaning up to do, and I believe the best way to do that is we need some sort of attachment to this structure itself. So if I do something like that, let's go ahead and see if we can get a couple more trapdoors. Oh boy, what is that on? Okay, that's not right. And if we go ahead and strip a couple pieces here and wax them on up. Okay, let's repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, now that should give the appeal. Let's go ahead and break away here for a second. Yeah, that gives the appeal that it is strapped with some sort of anchoring device from the counterweight to the beam or the load structure of this crane. And also, while we're in free cam, let's just back up a little bit. This is a pretty good perspective what it's going to look like. Obviously, this arm needs to continue out, and it'll be probably almost double the length of this arm, about out into here, with these towering, peaking cables to a central tower here that we need to work on now. So, in order to do that, we got to figure out how far up this is going to be before the peak of that's going to go. So, with that said, let's go ahead and climb up on here and do our best to just, I think every 3 is a good number. And when we get to centered over the cab, that'll be our stopping point, which I believe is right here, because I think the scaffold is centered, which let's go ahead and, yeah. Is it centered? Wait, is it centered still? Yes, it is. Okay, so the scaffold center, which means that the body of the crane or the tower structure itself is, you know, these 4 corner blocks, which means now we can continue this structure up to meet right there, and that's the supportive cable. Something like that. I think that makes sense. Okay, we added the little peak structure here. Now let's go ahead and break away once more, and there you have it. A good design profile really kind of sells the support structure here in this cable. I wish there was a better way of making angular cables. I think you can do something with flat cables. You can use chains along horizontal ridges like across the back of this, but in order to get an angle look, this is kind of the best thing you could do. Went ahead and also added a little lightning rod up here and a little location beacon for any passing buyers. And yes, that includes all the people now using the elytras. So with that out of the way, we've now got to decide how far in that direction, towards you, right there, towards you, behind you. Yep, turn around. There, that way. We've got to decide how far in that direction we need to go before we're going to put the crane, and I don't even know. It's got to be proportional somehow. Okay, we've got to make this a little safer. I don't want to use all of these, but I feel, you know, some bars here and there. Maybe we don't need double bars. Some bars here and there will help secure the driver of any accidents. Now you've got this cool little arrow thing that you really can't see anything through. Maybe we'll replace this with a glass block so you can see straight down. But we do have access to here, but nothing beyond, which is kind of what we wanted. Now, if we make our way back up there, well, these are temporary. We'll head back up on top here, but yeah, we've got to decide that direction. And I think the best thing to maybe gauge this might be to come down here and get a judgment of how far it can go in relation to the weight. Now, I do know that typically these are 2, maybe 3 times the length of the counterweight, because the mass here is greater than, not equal to, but greater than the mass of anything it's picking up plus the arm at the maximum distance. That meaning that when the load is all the way at the very, very, very tip of this arm, at max weight, at that point, should be less than the weight of that thing altogether. It's simple math. But the sun looks like it's setting again, which means it's probably best for us to go get a quick nap in while we think over how far we're going to take this crane. Okay, I do want to take a brief moment to recognize that I've been sleeping here in Millie's beautiful little die mill, which this thing is absolutely fantastic. Go check out her channel. This thing is crazy. But the aesthetic of waking up and walking out onto this road and seeing that is absolutely incredible. I did not realize that she was going to get such a sight. I was going to actually leave her a note that this is done when it's done. I mean, surely she'll see it, but she'll definitely see when she wakes up and walks outside to come hang out with the sniffers. Goodness, that noise is something. But that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so real quick, since I do have this kind of hey, there's a piece of scaffold stuck up there. Huh. Well, since I got this kind of decided, I'm going to go ahead and do the other half of this little angle bit here where the cable's tied to. I really can't get a good angle. But this little tower thing here, we're going to replicate what we have, angled up this way, angled back down over here, and that'll give us a good idea where to start this arm, and then we're just going to wing it. I'm just going to start placing blocks until we look down and go, yep, that's enough. So I hate to leave you, but I will, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, it's long. It's really, really long. But let's go ahead and break away for a quick second before we get into the details. This is what we've got for the length of the crane. Now this, in my opinion, looks absolutely phenomenal. We've even got a little tapered end off over here in those triangular cross sections for the support. Now, we do have to add a couple cables in here. I'm thinking about doing one kind of down in this direction, and then also one extended all the way out as far as we can get, hopefully somewhere out in the end down here. The final one that we need to get it done, the final detail, is underneath we need some sort of track system, or what resembles a track system, for the arm to kind of glide back and forth on. So I think the best thing we can do is maybe use of these iron bars a little more and line up along the bottom here. And then somewhere along here we'll have the big claw hanging hanging down, getting ready to pick up something from the ground. That's a lot of work, a lot of things left to do here, but I'm gonna get to that so we can wrap this video up, and I will see you guys here momentarily when I get all of these little extra bits done. All right, well, it's officially time. I went ahead and finished all the extra details. The unveiling of Millie's crane in 3, 2, 1. There it is. Oh my goodness, from back here, that thing looks absolutely incredible. And, you know, unfortunately, it does take away some of the detail and the texture of what blocks we used. But the fact that the cab sticks out so much and it's white and the shadows of everything else, it looks actually better from back here than it does in person. And I hate to admit that a little bit, but let's go get a closer look anyways. Hopefully climbing up this scaffold doesn't ruin the integrity of this thing here. We'll just be very careful with where we put our feet. But yeah, there it is, a little closer and a better perspective here. We, again, the same column as before, but we've extended out this arm and it is a little over 2 times longer than the counter lever balance section over here. And I'm really actually happy with the way this claw mechanism kind of turned out. I wanted something that looks like it would be able to pick up just about anything in the game, especially those logs right down there. Now, I was going to leave a kind note in Millie's mailbox or somewhere where she would find it, but I do believe, yes, she is currently online. So let's go see if she's busy. Oh my goodness, that scared me. I was like, I'm gonna go see what the sniffers are up to, and out of nowhere, that was amazing. Well, I hate to do this, but Millie's voice was unfortunately not picked up by my audio. I don't know if it was a Minecraft update or a software update, but something has recorded my voice in Minecraft's noise, but for some reason, not player audio. I don't really have a fix for that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into what we were up to. So we headed up to check out the crane, and yeah, Millie definitely told me how much she loves it. You're gonna have to take my word for it. And we did discuss a little bit of future things involving some collaboration. Originally, I said we didn't need any payment for our endeavor, and I don't expect any payment. Actually, I just do it kind of out of the kindness of my heart and the thrill of getting to build cool new contraptions. However, I did come across a brief conversation between Millie and some of the other crafters where she is designing interiors for some other buildings. Now, you may be wondering what building that I may need decorated. The workshop I did do myself. It's not perfect, and she could probably fluff it up a bit, but that is not the conversation we're having. The conversation is about a new project I am looking to take under my wing and try to figure out, and that is we are going to design a game within a game. I have this idea of bringing in a pre-existing game into Minecraft. It's a puzzle strategic multiplayer game that requires anywhere between 4 and about 10 to 12 people. I'm going to iron out all the details later, but that is the gist of it. Now, I don't want to spoil anything for any of the crafters, so to the best of my ability, what I'm going to have to do, or going to try to do, is take her skill set, along with Izzy and E. I think they call themselves the Interior Angels. We're going to hire their help in designing some of the rooms for the game, and just because, well, not because I'm lazy, but also because it's just not my forte. I'm not the best at it, and those guys are absolutely fantastic. If you haven't, go check out their channels. The decorating that they do on interior and exterior is absolutely phenomenal. All the little tricks that they have for ice machines and coffee maker, just like all the little tiny details that I wouldn't think of, they do to a whole new level that I can't even fathom. But that sums up everything we talked about, so you can go ahead and head back to the video now. All right, well, I hate to say it or count my chickens before they hatch, but it sounds like we've got another satisfied customer. Oh goodness, go up, go up, go up. Okay, now we can head back to the workshop and get everything put away, and I believe that will bring us to an end of today's episode. So I'll see you guys here in just a minute. All right, I know I said I was gonna put things away, but don't mind the shulkers over there. I'll get to it at another time. But that's going to do it for us in today's episode, folks. We've got a lot more exciting adventures, epic builds, and fun moments ahead, so stay tuned. And yes, you heard me right. We are going to build a game within a game. I have a plan for a tactical puzzle combination game, and it's something you've heard of before, and I'm going to try to do it in Minecraft, but I can't announce it here because I know you are watching, crafters, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. But if you're not a crafter, head down to the description below and click that Discord link, head over to my personal Discord, and stay tuned for some updates and some spoilers as we continue to develop this game over time. But if you liked today's video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what we've got planned. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, keep crafting, stay awesome, and as always, stay beautiful. Goodbye.